Donald Trump meets with evangelicals, and there are money problems brewing. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance.
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Donald Trump met with evangelicals yesterday, and the reception was somewhat icy at best. Thankfully, people like Dr. James Dobson have agreed to sit on his steering committee. Others are starting to thaw to him a little bit. But the simple fact of the matter is that they are very concerned about him as a man, 3 marriages, a lot of stories from the past that he has spoken about at points braggadociously. It doesn't go well. It's just not a comfortable fit on many levels. So he met with them, and there was questions, and there was a panel, and people were trying to decide, can we live with this candidate? One of the big issues in the room was so-called homosexual marriage and the suppression of religious liberty. Well, allow me, if I may, to speak directly to these individuals and to you, because you give these evangelical people, these men and women, some of whom are leaders and probably most of whom are not, but it is you, it is I, that give them their horsepower. That room full of people basically has its pecking order based upon the amount of money that they bring in, the size of their radio program, the size of their TV program, the influence that they exert, the number of times that they've been interviewed in the New York Times or the Washington Post. That's how that world works, okay? So you and I, by giving them money, bring them to the next level. That's just the way it is. So you need to understand that we have a responsibility to be born on who we elevate in that world. Because now suddenly they're meeting with the presumptive Republican nominee. But here's the crazy irony. Please hear me on this. Not all of them, but most of them are shackled or handcuffed to a 501c3 not-for-profit. A 501c3 not-for-profit corporation, tax exempt, right? These are the places that you can contribute a gift, $500, $1,000, $10,000, and then you can write it off of your IRS 1040 long form, okay? For those of you who don't file long form, this might be gibberish to you, but there are people watching who do file long form. But remember, most of the people in that room, not as individuals, but the organizations they lead, the mailing lists they've built, the audiences that they have accumulated, most of them revolve around a not-for-profit 501c3, that's the IRS code, 501 parentheses C, close parentheses 3, 501c3 not-for-profit corporation. And by law, those 501c3 IRS created not-for-profit corporations, by law, they are forbidden to endorse or oppose any candidate for office. The end. So let's say that some of these people came out of there and go, man, I'm sold. I'm sold. Okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to send a fundraising letter out to your list saying, please support Donald Trump? No. Because the IRS will yank their tax-exempt status away, and then they cannot go to their big donors and say, hey, if you'll give me a $50,000 gift, I can write this off for you. They won't do that, okay? They're not going to risk their 501c3. So they're not going to send out a letter to their organization saying the choice is clear, vote for Trump, oppose Hillary. They're not going to do that. I mean, think this through with me. I'm happy that Donald Trump met with them. I'm happy that they met with Donald Trump. But at the end of the day, They are like a battleship sitting idly in port while a war is raging. I'm going to tell you a story. Dr. Dobson has resigned from Focus on the Family years ago. I have great affection for him as a man, and I'm very thankful for the help that Focus on the Family gave to me into Operation Rescue in the late 80s and the early 90s. And it was significant at the time. But the truth of the matter was that Focus on the Family was and remains, as far as I know, a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. Now, in the late 80s, early 90s, I was the most well-known pro-life leader in the country, leading the rescue movement, tens of thousands of people getting arrested. And I would meet with a lot of big shots in the evangelical world. Dr. Dobson had me speak to his board, the people that ran Focus on the Family, right? With a tens of millions of dollar budget. And I sat there and I begged them. I said, I am begging you, have the radio show be something other than a 501c3. Look at a C4, look at a trust, look at a for-profit corporation. Figure this out, people, because every time an election rolls around, they had 2 million listeners at the time to the radio show. That's significant. I said every time the election rolls around and there is a battle raging, you sit idly by and your guns are silent. Your guns are silent. You don't blast the enemy. And this happened over and over again, not with just Focus on the Family, but with one political organization after another, religious organization after another. Jerry Falwell broke rank and started the Moral Majority. God rest his soul and God bless that man. He saw the conflict. And so he created an entity that could be and was a political force. But most of the people that Donald Trump was meeting with in New York, in the evangelicals, they don't have such an organization. And so what they have is all this fluff and steam. But at the end of the day, they've created this massive structure, okay? Wild amounts of money being raised to do what? When we're about to decide who is the president and therefore who gets to pick the next Supreme Court judges upon which the life of this republic may hinge in the balance, those picks, those Supreme Court picks, they can't say anything. They've made a choice. So I'm happy that Donald Trump met with them. I'm happy that they met with Trump. But most of them are going to be of little use in this election cycle, really and truly. Even if they fawned all over Trump and said, you're my man, I love you, then what? What are you going to do? This leads to the next thing I need to talk about after the break, and that is where you contribute your money in this election cycle. Please stay with me. Please stay with me. I'll be right back. If you own a business and would like to advertise on our program, please contact us. We are currently seen on over 130 television stations from coast to coast. We air at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then all times are local. We have a lot of reach, friend, and this is an opportunity at a great price for you to get your product or your service in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people. Also, if there's something that's important to you and you'd like to have a month where you just say thank you to this ministry or promote a certain ministry or a certain cause, contact us. Our rates are incredibly affordable. You'd be surprised. And you, again, can reach into hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of homes. We're currently seen possibly in over 30 million homes. So give us a call, give us an email, and we'll put a commercial up for you. Let's talk about money because this is a big issue. Hillary Clinton, at the close of May, had $43 million in the bank, and Trump had $1.3 million. Hillary Clinton's super PAC had $50 million, and Trump's super PAC had $500,000. So let the full weight of that sink in on you. Donald Trump has been self-funding most of his campaign, as we know, and has gotten an enormous amount of earned media, as it's called, news coverage, and has been able to ride that wave all the way to victory in the Republican primary process. But there's going to be money needed. Hillary's people anticipate spending $117 million between now and Election Day. And most of that's going to be anti-Trump. Trump's people have set up $700,000 worth of ad buys. I have to laugh. I actually have to laugh. All right, $700,000. Woo! There's not enough free media in the world to overcome that, people. Okay, so Mr. Trump and his staff are now setting about to raise money, which they have to do. All right? They don't have to compete with her, but they have to be able to raise money and to go after her with ads. Because George Stephanopoulos, the people at ABC, the people at the major networks, where most of the I don't want to say undereducated, some of them are very educated, most of the people who can't think, who are not analytical thinkers, most of them get their news from George Stephanopoulos and those people, and they're not going to give Trump a lot of those sound bites where he's calling Hillary a liar and the most evil person to ever run for the presidency. They're just not going to do it, all right? So Trump needs to raise money. Now, you and I are going to be where he gets his money. If you want Trump to win, that is, all right? So I'm going to talk very bluntly with you, and I want you to not be offended. I want you to just think this through with me. For the next 30 days, I want you to take all the money or all the fundraising letters that come in your mailbox and all the ones that come in your email box, should you do email, and I want you to save them and even categorize them. Here's a stack for pro-life. Here's a stack for homosexual marriage, the defense of heterosexual marriage. Here's anti-Muslim literature, which is really on the rise right now. And then here's the Second Amendment. Right? Pick those four. Same with emails. What I want you to do is read them very carefully and see which ones are discussing the upcoming election. We need to elect people who will stand with us on these issues, who will fight for the right to life of babies. Islam is a threat. Sharia law is being taught in our schools. Just read them all right? Because these are what are called hot button issues. And the fundraising industry for the religious right and for conservative issues is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's literally an industry. Now, then, look at how many of them at the very bottom say, your gift is tax deductible. That's what I want you to do. Look at, don't give, just take a pause, okay? And look for the ones that say your gift is tax deductible. And please understand this. If it says your gift is tax deductible, then ultimately they cannot legally spend one dime to help Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton. Not a dime. It's against the law. Now maybe one or two of them will break the law and do it, all right? But for the most part, they dance with who brung them, baby. They got to this point by not in breaking the IRS law, and they're gonna stay the course, okay? So whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's your favorite U.S. House member or it's your favorite U.S. senator, if you get a letter from anyone saying, this issue, we really need to stand on this issue, if it's about an election cycle issue, unless it's a PAC that's going to spend money, don't give. You're wasting your money if you give. I'm letting you know right now. You are wasting your money if you give, because they are not going to use your money to impact the election for the issue that is dear to your heart. But a candidate can and will. So if an issue matters to you in this election cycle, give the money to candidates who will fight for what you believe in. Friend, this program is supported by friends like you who believe in what we are doing. We run a very tight ship. Thankfully, we are on over 130 stations across the country, having tremendous impact. We get emails every day. We get letters in the mail, not every day, but almost every day. We hear from people who love what we're doing. What people don't understand is that it's sort of expensive to produce a television show like this. It doesn't require earth-shattering funds, but it does require financial help. So I am asking you, if you enjoy this program, throw us a $10 or a $20 bill every once in a while, or even a $50 or a $100 check. You see the address there on the screen. Your gifts are not tax deductible, by the way, because we want to be able to say what we want to say regarding politics without the IRS telling us no. So if you like the program, I ask for your support. If you are a regular viewer of this program, you know that I regularly say, I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. And I urge people, don't vote for Hillary Clinton. If you're a Christian and you fear God and you know that you're going to give an account to God for your votes, not to mention every other aspect of your life, you don't want to face God with blood on your hands. And if you help Clinton get to be the president, she has vowed, recently in Texas, she said we need more abortions. That's somebody who's actually bragging that they want more dead babies, okay? If you help a person like that get into office, you are sinning against innocent blood. Now, Randall, you say these things, man, I love this. I don't hear this anywhere else. Well, we're not a nonprofit. Years ago, I felt like the Lord really showed me, do not be a 501c3 tax exempt because you're going to need to speak about political issues. This was when I was in my 20s, okay? This is over 30 years ago. And, well, maybe, wait a minute, no, I was in my 20s. It was just 10 years ago. It's been a while. And it freed me up when I have had the microphone in front of me, when I've had the TV camera on me. It freed me up to be able to say and to be able to do whatever I wanted when it came to elections, candidates, lobbying for bills, fighting about Supreme Court judges and federal judges. In my opinion, one of the most successful, I'll go ahead and say it, you can quote me on this one, satanic muzzles that has ever been put on the Church of our Lord Jesus Christ in America is the 501c3 tax exempt status. It's a satanic muzzle. I mean, if you don't believe in the devil, you can scoff at me and mock me. But if you do believe there is a devil, what better way to get people to betray King Jesus than to put a financial muzzle on him? What Caesar gives, Caesar can take away. You have to pledge to Caesar that you won't criticize Caesar, that you won't fight against Caesar, that you'll bow the knee to Caesar, that you won't talk about certain things. If that's not satanic, I don't know what is. Because if you read the book of Jeremiah, for example, or the book of Ezekiel, you'll see prophets, just read all the Old Testament, for goodness sake. You see prophets who are condemning evil kings and princes by name. John the Baptist lost his head because he said, Herod, it is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife while he yet lives. Named names, named the sin. So if you want to be like John the Baptist, or if I do, if we want to be like Old Testament prophets, we have to come into conflict sometimes with people in power. It's just the way it is. That's the way God set up the world. But 501c3 nonprofit organizations have said, oh, we won't do that. No, money's more important to us. That tax-exempt little carrot is more important. If that's not satanic, I don't know what is. So, actually, I do know what is. Shedding innocent blood is satanic. Having matrimony between two people of the same gender is twisted. There's something so like Sodom and Gomorrah about that. All right? Islam, denying that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and then threatening to murder Christians who pronounce publicly that Jesus is the Son of God. That's got a really dark ring to it too. That probably would be up there in the, devilish realm. But these devilish things, these evil things, these sinister, dark, immoral, oppressive, vile things that are going on are tied to public policy and to elected officials. And then the Church of Jesus says, oh man, we got to talk against this, except we can't because we we're on the government, I can't even say it. I want to invite you to go to our website. Almost every book that I have ever written is available as a PDF online for free. We have a ton of products, training materials, tools that are available for you for free. All we ask for is that you give us your email address. That's it, so that we can stay in touch with you, and yes, from time to time, ask you to support this work. So I'm inviting you, go to the website. Now, for those of you who say, well, I don't want a PDF, I want a real book. You can get one of my books. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift you want. And if you can't afford anything, we'll send you the book for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Why are we doing all this? Because we want to change the direction of the country, and we need to raise up a fresh generation of warriors to do that. That's why we have this tool. I invite you, go to the website, see for yourself. I am happy to tell you that we have raised the money we need for the piece of audio equipment that we have to have in the studio to do the audio soundtrack, the music track for the upcoming television series, What Would Mohammed Do? We are creating all original music for this series. I thank those who have contributed so generously to make this happen. Now, we need to raise money. I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, we need a new computer. This is almost funny. Only a handful of you are going to be able to appreciate this, but all of you can be educated from this. When you watch television, much of what you see now is not analog tape, it's digital. It's a computer. It's a camera that takes data, X's and O's, into a chip or into a hard drive, and then somebody edits it, and then they render it, and they put it on TV. All right? It sounds simple enough, and at one level it is. The issue is this: the amount of data, the amount of information, computer information, that is coming through these cameras is mind-boggling. We use 4K cameras here in our studio, okay? When you go to a movie, it's 2K. If you go to see the Civil War with Captain America, it's shot in 2K. That means that there's an enormous amount of data that's on that screen. It's unthinkable amounts of data. And that's the way it works. If you're going to do TV and you're going to do movies, documentaries, you have to have a computer that has the horsepower to have all of that information coming through it on the hard drive side, but also on the processing side. So if you try and edit a TV series on a laptop, even a really good Macintosh laptop, the laptop goes, "You're killing me here. I can't carry all this. You're trying to bring this much water through a hose this big. I can't deal with it." So we've recorded all this incredible footage. We've got all this great stuff, and we're editing the series right now on a smaller Macintosh product, but we're doing it in a degraded format. I don't know what's the right word that I would say. A smaller bit-sized. Smaller amounts of data. So you edit it and look at it with data that you could use on YouTube or online. But then when you're all done, you go back and you take the original footage, this massive amount of footage, and then you do the final edit with all that really high definition, beautiful footage. And that little Mac that's been serving you so well goes, ah, and then goes, "I can't do this. Sorry, I quit." So we have to have the Mac that you would use if you were at Disney or if you were anyplace else. And that is about a $10,000 purchase. We don't have it, but somebody yesterday contacted me and said, "I'll give you $5,000. I'll pay for half of it." And we now need to raise the other half. So you might be somebody who says, "Man, if one other person can do it, I'll do it." Or maybe 5 of you could say, "I'll give $1,000. I know, Randall, I trust you're using the money judiciously," and we are. So if you want to help us get it, go to the web address you see on the screen or send a check. in the mail to the address you see on the screen and help us get this. And I promise you, we will use it as a weapon for righteousness, and we will finish editing this series, What Would Muhammad Do?